Hello, my name is Michelle Vu, and this is my final project for Nicholas Tuttle's Online Psychology 1 Summer 2017 class. I did my project on the topic of hypnosis, and the reasoning behind choosing this topic was because I've always wondered if hypnosis was something that was real or fake, and if it can actually work on everybody. Can everybody be hypnotized? I also wanted to study hypnosis in its clinical setting in regards to the fact that it can actually help people quit smoking or lose weight and cope with depression or stress. The final reason behind choosing this topic was because I recently attended the California State Fair in Sacramento, California, and I went and attended a comedic hypnotist show by Tina Marie, and she basically hypnotized audience members and made them do funny things to each other. So I guess when I was sitting there looking at these people, I wanted to know if they were even at least self-consciously aware of what they were doing and how they were doing things. So I wanted to learn more about hypnosis before I actually volunteered myself to go up there one day and be hypnotized. So what is hypnosis? Hypnosis is an altered state of consciousness or psychological state of altered attention and expectation in which the individual is unusually receptive to suggestions. I wanted to start off with the history of hypnosis, and so the term hypnosis has been adopted since the 1840s. However, various forms of this technique has been used centuries earlier. Records of hypnosis has been dated back to 2,500 years ago in China and Egypt. The first figure to study hypnosis or even its various forms was Franz Anton Mesmer. He introduced animal magnetism and mesmerism. Animal magnetism is the practice of using magnets to move energy around people in order to heal them. This in turn led to mesmerism, which is trance-inducing methods to help remedy the cosmic fluid imbalance in people's bodies. He believed that this concept and technique could actually help heal people's illness and sufferings. It is also widely believed that James Braid created the term hypnosis from hypnos, the Greek god of sleep, because Braid believed that hypnosis was the state of sleep. However, the term was actually first used by French physician de Cuviers. Sigmund Freud also studied hypnosis around 1885, but abandoned it in favor of conscious psychoanalysis. Continuing on with the history of hypnosis, Emile Coué wrote the first book on self-hypnosis, basically illustrating the instructions on how to self-hypnotize yourself. He was also famous for telling his patients to use positive affirmations in order to help improve their life and their health. Modern study of hypnosis began with psychologist Clark Hole, who concluded that hypnosis was not sleep and not at all connected to sleep. He believed that the effects of hypnosis were the results of suggestion and motivation. He was also famous for staring into the eyes of his patients until they were hypnotically influenced. What happens to the brain during hypnosis? So first off, there's decreased activity in dorsal anterior cingulate, which is part of the brain's salience network. The brain's salience network controls how people compare context and how they distinguish what is worth worrying about and what isn't worth worrying about. There are also increasing connections between the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the insula. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for helping us plan out and carry out tasks. The insula also is responsible for helping the mind connect to the body. This in turn connection between the two distinguish how the mind is connected to the body during hypnosis. There are also reduced connections between the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the brain's default mode network. The brain's default mode network is most activated during daydreaming and when we are not focused on reality. This represents a disconnection between a person's actions and their awareness of their actions. Such a dissociation allows a hypnotized individual to engage in suggestions or activities without being self-conscious of their actions. They are so intensely focused that they are not worried about what they're doing. They are just simply following directions and suggestions. There's also a prevalence of alpha and beta waves, which are most active during a relaxed waking state. Additionally, multiple areas of the cerebral cortex are activated during hypnosis, including the parietal lobes, occipital lobes, the sensory motor cortex, and the prefrontal cortex. So how does hypnosis work? A hypnosis will first start by eliminating distractions to make the participant feel more comfortable. They will then tell the person to focus on something specific, as in a memory or an object. They will then inform the person of what to expect in the hypnotic state. Finally, they will suggest certain events or sensations they know will happen or observe as happening. Once these suggestions events happen, the person believes and accepts them as being prompted by the power of the hypnotist's suggestions. This increase in the expectations that the hypnotist has the power and ability to make things happen in the future makes them even more suggestible. The divided consciousness view of hypnosis. This was Ernest Hillgard's idea that hypnosis splits consciousness into different streams. part of the conscious mind functions normally, but another part of the mind is unable to represent itself in conscious awareness. This is basically an idea that one part of the mind follows the hypnotist's commands, while another part of the mind is the hidden observer. This hidden observer is still connected to reality. It can still elicit true feelings of pain. However, the other part of the mind that is not consciously aware, cannot feel pain. The subject is aware of the results of the hypnotic suggestions, but they are not aware of how they came about, aware of the process by which they came about. Moving on, the social cognitive behavior view of hypnosis is basically an experience of effortlessness. The participant expects things to happen effortlessly and just responds along to suggestions. This is Nicholas Spanis's view of social cognitive theory. He basically provided us a social psychological interpretation and cognitive behavioral perspective. He believed that attitudes, beliefs, and expectations could help shape our hypnotic experiences. Therefore, when these things come together into a behavior, that the subject thinks is consistent with their idea of how a good hypnotic subject should behave. Therefore, this contributes to the whole idea of how subjects interpret the hypnotic role is a key factor in their hypnotic responsiveness. And this leads into individual variations in receptiveness to hypnosis. Social context is also crucial, and this view contrasts with the divided consciousness view of hypnosis. Although there is no mutual consensus of what exactly hypnosis is, whether it's an altered state of consciousness or a reaction to a social situation influenced by expectations. So other uses of hypnosis. Hypnosis is controversially known to help reduce pain, help overcome habits such as smoking, overeating, or improving the success of treatments in phobias, anxiety, depression, grief, and loss, etc., etc. So it is controversial, but it ultimately depends on the person's motivation to change. Although hypnosis is not a direct recommendation by doctors to use as treatment for psychological disorders, it can aid certain therapies or treatments. Hypnosis is also used in comedic hypnotist show, like I mentioned earlier, and because of stage hypnotist shows and the media's portrayal of hypnosis, this has led to a particular stigma stamped on hypnosis and has led to many so-called beliefs of myths. So, popular myths of hypnosis. I just want to say hypnotized subjects do not lose control over their behavior. They are not forced to do anything they don't want to do. They still remain aware of who they are, where they are, and what happened during their hypnosis. Hypnosis just makes it easier for people to become receptive to suggestions, but does not force them at all to act out these suggestions or against their beliefs or values. So conclusion, hypnosis is not dangerous. However, it does have a potential risk to form false or unreliable memories in a person. So for example, during therapy in a clinical setting, a person being hypnotized might bring up memories that actually never happened. Hypnosis is also not considered a main component in most forms of psychotherapy. However, it can improve the success of treating a variety of conditions, pain, addictions, and disorders. So I also wanted to mention that when hypnosis is used in a clinical setting, it's called hypnotherapy. Hypnosis still remains a mystery. However, evidence is rising every day behind scientific research, and they're showing that hypnosis does play a beneficial role in a range of health concerns and continues to show changed activity in the brain. So this is my works cited, and I wanted to let you know how this has impacted my life and how I'm going to change. I think that my takeaway from this is that I might actually go up there and get myself hypnotized, because there's no true way to know your ability to be hypnotized, your hypnotizability, without trying to be hypnotized first. So I think I need to just go up there and try it and make a fool of myself. So this is my video. This is my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.